This is Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we get into a different band, different artist, and we break down one of their records. We get into the music, the lyrics, how it was made, and everything in between. My name is Tyler, and way out there, hundreds of miles away, is Jeff. While you're listening, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, tell all your friends, share all the posts. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that subscribe button. That's all I have for the boring intro. So what are we doing today, Jeff? Go.
We're doing the Stone Temple Pilots' record, Purple. Start wearing purple.
Yes, their second record from 1994. We're doing this one this week. This is actually the start of 90s season on the podcast. So we got 4 weeks of 90s bands, not hip hop, nothing, just 90s bands.
Straight up alternative stuffs.
That's all we're doing, alternative stuffs. So 90s season on the pod starts. We were inspired to do this episode because friend of the pod, listener of the pod, I don't know his real name, so White Zombie. He had a series of numbers after that. No picture, just a random dude online on Instagram who wanted us to do this, and that's why we're here. So
makes sense.
Yeah. So shout out to you, and buckle up, Mr. Zombie, because this
should have known. Like if you don't have a picture on Instagram or Facebook or any of the platforms, if there's no picture, that means you created an account just to interact with somebody or something, some entity that you want to talk to, maybe just one time, right?
I think he because on Spotify you can leave comments on episodes, on every episode, and I think this guy leaves comments on all of our episodes, or not on all of them, but on several of our episodes, but we can't reply back to them, which is a really weird feature that Spotify has. But so I think maybe that's why he created an Instagram and started, leaving comments for us. But anyway, yeah. So
in doing so, going off that, we should have known, because you're creating a moniker online and you want something unique about yourself that kind of tells the world like what you're into. And his choice was White Zombie, which is a good band, but that is it. I was
gonna see where you were gonna go with that, with the
at
butt.
Best. So we should have known.
All right, Mr. Zombie. So buckle up, boy. Let's get into this. Assuming you're a boy, I don't know. I don't even know who you are.
If he heard the last,
you don't know?
If he heard the last episode of how we treated the dude for
Isaac
311, then Isaac got the worst of it.
And honestly, what's great, how much shit we talked about 311. Isaac TM'd us like a couple days after the episode came out, and he's like, I totally agree with you guys. This is like the best worst band. I call this band the best worst band ever. So like as much shit talking as we did on 311, he agreed with us. So
Isaac's a homie, that's why.
Yeah,
Isaac knows.
He's a good guy.
Because we all like shitty music sometimes. Korn.
Well,
I don't like
okay.
any shitty music, but we all like shitty music sometimes. So
okay,
that's all right.
Okay. What are you, fucking Matthew McConaughey and Days Confused? Well, that's all right.
That's all right. All right.
All right. Anyway, let's get into this. Let's get into our origin story with Stone Temple Pilots. I keep wanting to say Smashing Pumpkins. I wish we were doing Smashing Pumpkins. Let's get into our origin story of this band, Stone Temple Pilots. So what do you got, Jeff? Go.
This is a band that's just always been around, right? This is a band that just, they've always been there. And it's, what's funny is I don't like the Jarl. Never have, never will. But I've always thought this band, not always, but for a long time, I thought them and Pearl Jam were the same band, to be honest. And I always thought that Stone Temple Pilots, when everyone's telling me, "You're not cares," I was like, oh yeah, that's Stone Temple Pilots for sure. Yeah. But like, that's Pearl Jam. But like,
yes,
who gives a fuck? It's the same fucking band. Like, they sound exactly the same on Core and Pearl Jam's 10. Like, there's the fucking same fucking band. I don't care. But I have no history whatsoever with Stone Temple Pilots outside of like this week. And this week was the first real time that I've ever listened to a record in its entirety. No, that's not true, because when we did Grunge Season, we both listened to Core.
Yeah.
But I hated it then. And even though it's my number 2, I still don't like that record. It's not a good record. It was still
bottom tier. I think we listened to 20 grunge records. And STP, I remember STP, Pearl Jam, and Alice in Chains were at the bottom of my list.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we even
they
did
were
like a
just
fucking tier list. Remember we did like
we did.
the thing that you can do online that people do all
Yeah.
the time. What the fuck is
S
that
tier,
shit's
A
called?
tier, B, so on and so forth.
Yeah,
Did it
and
for New
and
Metal season too.
and even then it was just that was a fun one because at
New Metal
least that
season was
was
fun.
enjoyable. But it was just like, dude, I don't like Scott Weiland. I don't like him. I don't like the Scott Weiland whale. I think he thinks like, yeah, I'm Scott Weiland, yeah. I think he thinks like that's a good fucking sound. It is not a good sound. It's fucking obnoxious, and it sounds like a drunk asshole at a bar. So I really don't have an origin story with STP other than hearing like Interstate on the radio and then Love Song and Plush over the years, and just still like, those songs are pretty dumb. I don't like them. That's it.
Okay, my origin story, the first time I remember ever hearing them is actually seeing them, not live, but seeing their music video for Sour Girl. This was 1999 when that song came out, that video came out. And what are we, 12 years old? Sarah Michelle Gellar's in that video. Sarah
Yeah.
Michelle Gellar at the time, I mean, one of
She's on
the
top of the world.
on top of
She's
the
on
fucking
top of
world.
the world.
One of the cutest girls in Hollywood at that point. The only person like cuter than her would be like Jennifer Love Hewitt. They were like the two
Sandra
it
Bullock,
girls.
but that's fine.
Well, okay, that's wrong, but but honestly, like they were like the girls at that time. That every teenage boy loved. So that was the video. That was the thing that I remember from STP. The first thing I remember ever watching and listening to, and I hated that song. Hated the song. But the video, they always played on VH1 because VH1, they had a different, like, they had like a top 20 countdown, and their countdown was always way different than TRL and all the other countdowns on MTV. So it was always like the more alternative alt rock videos that they would show on VH1. So like this, Smash Mouth, Santana, just like, just like Matchbox 20, just shit like that. That's what would be on VH1 at the time. And this video was always in their top 20 countdown, and that's my origin story is Sour Girl. But like I said in the album rankings, his voice is actually pretty good in that song. Like that's like one of his best vocal performances because I can't stand his Jarl.
Have you seen that video? That's super popular video where he's pink hair Scott way back in the day. They're at like a park bench in like the college or whatever. And they're singing one of their fucking annoying songs. I don't remember what it was. It's so fucking annoying. But he's doing like they're not sitting on the bench as normal. They're putting their butts where like your back would normally go, and your feet is where your butt should be going. And it's him, and then I think it's probably the guitarist, and then whoever's doing like the interview, and like Scott's doing like this thing, like he's like doing that thing, and it's the most obnoxious fucking video I may have ever seen in my fucking life. It's so annoying.
I didn't watch any interview videos. I watched the music videos from this record, and I watched two Howard Stern performances from 2000. I don't get it. Honestly, this band is not for me. Scott Weiland is not for me. I know people absolutely love this band. They sold, altogether, I think they sold something like 30 million records worldwide.
It's a lot of records.
It is a lot of records. I think this one sold over 6 million alone. And, man, I don't get it. It's not for me. I think it's pretty mediocre. I think even, we'll get into it. I guess we'll get into some of the individual songs. So my origin story is, I'm not my origin story, but my initial thoughts on this record is it's not very good. I don't really care for it. So
my initial thoughts are it's not very good.
It's not,
dude.
It's not.
But
they're for pooping.
But I want to go back to the Sarah Michelle Gellar because so like for our record store Instagram, David and I share the same Instagram. It's just for the record store that we have. One of us, Desert Grooves Record, huge shout out. One of us followed Entertainment Weekly at some point for whatever reason, but now I am addicted to it, and it's like the first because they post a lot. So whenever I go to Instagram, it's like the first thing that's always up. And not that long ago, within like a couple weeks, it showed a picture of Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. And just a reminder that they are still together.
They're still together
after fucking 2002, meeting for the first time. And I know what you did last summer in like 98, 99, or where the fuck they came out. That's wild.
It is. It really is.
And
none of them,
dude, that's not like America's Couple. I don't fucking know what it is.
seriously, it is. But and the reason why they're not as popular as they are is because they're not all about the drama. They're not about like blow ups in public and paparazzi and all that kind of shit. Like, for example, the Kardashians and that whole family.
Or
It's
Ben
like,
Affleck and J Lo right now.
exactly. Yeah,
Good
exactly.
Lord,
They keep to
there's a lot
themselves.
of Entertainment Weekly, but I just like you forget about them, and for that exact reason, you forget that they're still together. And so whenever it comes up on like, oh yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. were spotted at fucking Venetia's Pizza having a dinner, like, oh yeah, they're still together. God damn, that's a long time.
Long time. Yeah.
22 years.
Yeah,
They both look good. They both still look good.
Yeah, they do. I saw an interview that Freddie Prinze Jr. did about Star Wars because he's a voice actor mostly now, and yeah, he does like Star Wars voice acting, and
Yeah.
he's talking about that from like last year. I think I sent you the video. He's talking about
Yeah.
how stupid the fans are, and like this is a kids'
Yeah.
TV show. Like you
He
gotta
looks
stop building
exactly the fucking
Yeah.
same.
He does. He does.
He looks really, really good.
Yes, and she does too. They
Damn.
both look fantastic.
Wild.
So, mhm.
Yeah. Sarah Michelle Gellar talk.
Tangents
Over.
galore. Tangents galore, baby.
There we
That's
go.
what this
There
that's
we
what
go.
this episode is. Honestly, I don't think we'll get through an hour of this episode. I really don't think it. I'm
I got a
sorry,
lot of
Mr.
notes.
Zombie. I'm sorry, Mr. Zombie, but I have like almost nothing.
I do have a lot of positive things to say. I really do.
You okay?
Yeah,
That's one of us. That's one of us.
I do.
So let's start this off. Do we have any stinkers on this record?
I don't have any stinkers, no.
I don't either. I don't have any bangers. I have no bangers.
Oh.
I have no
Oh.
bangers. I have two songs that are like, okay, this is a little bit different. This is a little bit cooler, but no bangers on this one. No bangers.
Okay. What
about you?
I have one absolute for sure banger through and through, no matter what. And then I have one song that it's like, I call it a soft banger because I will
Soft
playlist
banger.
it only if
An
it's
SB.
on a specific playlist, an SB. I have an SB if it's on a specific playlist, but I would never put it into like a bigger rotation. But my biggest banger, for sure, I'd put that on fucking any playlist and love it. What are your
song is it?
what are your two songs? Do you want to do mine? Do you want to do yours? Do I talk first?
Let's see. No, dude, don't do that. Please don't do that. The worst part of that movie. Please don't do that. If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
That's funny. That's good.
What do you got? What's your? I'm already not in a good mood.
So my biggest
So,
banger,
yeah.
the song that I think truly is an absolute fucking banger. It's a really, really good song. It's Unglued. Unglued. I think is a fucking fantastic song. It's a perfect song. It's damn near borderline beyond banger.
Okay, so did not make my almost banger list, and I get why you like this. This is very Queens of the Stone Age.
Dude, that's exactly what I fucking
yes,
said. I said
it's
this. I
very
hear
Queens of the
songs
Stone
for the
Age.
deaf on this thing.
Yeah, it kind of has that stoner rock kind of thing feel going on here, which is cool. I like it, but dude, you need a second guitar player. You need a second lead guitar player because this song could have been really good had there been a little more flourishes, more lead lines, rather than just the downstrokes. I mean, Queens of the Stone Age have made a career on that because they do it so fucking well. This band, they do it once again, like everything they do, everything is mediocre, and that's what this song is. That's what this song is. And the chorus reminds me of Nirvana, like the way he sounds like he's trying to sing like Kurt Cobain, and which is fine. I get it. That's what you do. You like cherry picking from different singers and shit like that's Scott's thing.
Isn't that
so-
what Kurt did though? Just cherry pick from other fucking artists and then put together Nirvana.
But at least Kurt Cobain wrote amazing fucking songs. He wrote amazing fucking songs. So his style was more inspired by other artists rather than lifting directly from other artists. So
I actually have a lot of like facts and anecdotes and fun things, fun little tidbits that I'll throw in there. And I feel like the first good one here came from the manager of Mudhoney, and he told a story that was like through the grapevine that I read online, which has to be true. So she said, him and Kurt, like the manager from Mudhoney, I forgot what his fucking name was. Who cares what his name was, right? But him and Kurt went backstage at an SCP show with the Butthole Surfers opening, and Kurt had jumped on his back, and they're like going through like the whole fucking back area, just goofing off, throwing shit at people. But they immediately ran straight for the SCP dressing room. This is like 93. they ran right for the SCB dressing room with security in pursuit. And Scott had opened the door, saw them right there, and said, "Oh no, don't worry, it's Kurt Cobain. Like, you don't fucking Kurt Cobain. Just get the fuck out of here." So Kurt and Scott were at the backstage food table getting a bunch of food, and Kurt told them, according to the Mudhoney manager, according to this fucking Steve Hoffman forum thread that I read, Kurt said, "People tell me you sound like Nirvana. You must owe me some publishing money then." As like a joke, right? But like kind of a tongue-in-cheek joke, because like there's probably some truth to that, because Kurt's a little bitch and fucking probably actually wants some money from him.
But he's also like Kurt had a very dry sense of humor too.
But like according to legend, without fucking hesitation, Scott nodded, immediately went into his pocket, pulls out this crumpled, sweaty, disgusting $1 bill, gave it to Kurt, and then Kurt just started dying laughing. Fucking thought it was so fucking funny. And from then on, they were just at least friends. Sometimes rivals, but at least friends in like the nice sense. And that was kind of fun.
If that story's true, that's really cool. That is really cool.
That's cute. It's a cute little story.
It is. All right. That's what. But
that's why. Then I mean, going off further too. Like, I mean, I don't make this a Nirvana pod, but like when Kurt died,
might as well.
It was a shocking thing. Like, we had not seen a fucking rock star so young like that, so defining, die in that way. Maybe like in decades.
Since
like
Hendrix,
decades,
honestly.
exactly, like decades. And so when Kurt died in '94, like after that, we saw, you know, Scott and Chester and Lane, like all these other like big rock stars are dying off. But like that affected the music scene. And Scott had said, because Scott was supposed to be at the same fucking rehab center that Kurt was at when Kurt had famously jumped the fence instead of just checking himself out of rehab and then subsequently dying. Scott was supposed to be at that same rehab facility that Kurt was at, but was transferred out because one of the Butthole Surfers guys was there. And the manager knew that Scott and the Butthole Surfers guy didn't get along because it's shit that he said. I have notes on that too. So like he transferred Scott out of that same facility. So like there was this kind of like weird remorse thing that Scott had there. He was heavily into drugs, and he was like, dude, I was supposed to be at that same facility that Kurt was at before he died. And so there's got to be some fucking, I don't know,
but come on,
unresolved issues there.
That's a stretch. I mean, come on. That's kind of like
I will tell you, man. I will tell you, dude, after reading some of the stories of Scott Weiland, yeah. Hard drugs have never seemed so glamorous. Just straight up. They have never seemed so glamorous. Dude was in rehab with Robert Downey Jr. Like, are you kidding me? Like, get the fuck out of here. He was like in a moving car with his wife at the time, and he was like, hey, drive me to my fucking dealer's house. He's like, no, I can't do that. That's bad for you. And he opened the door and just fucking tuck and rolled. Peace. I hold up long enough, the balloons will come up. He's like, peace, I'm going to my dealer's house. God. And so that's horrible to put up there.
If you're watching the video of this right now.
And so like also God. Like legend has it that he went to this hotel next to like his heroin dealer at the time, and Courtney Love was not his roommate, but like his neighbor roommate.
She was in the room next to his.
But her and him shot up all the fucking time. And then also, like, apparently she would call K-Rock and read these letters that Scott would write to his friends, his family, to his fans that were super sad and depressing and very apologetic and very much like, I have a disease. I need help. I am very sorry. And Courtney Love, like on K-Rock, would read these live. And that's fucking wild, man.
She's terrible.
But that's a rock star, dude. That's a rock star downfall if I ever heard one.
His whole life was a downfall. Like
there's a downfall and there's a rock star downfall. This is a rock star downfall.
Yeah, I suppose.
Lying about your drug addiction and like being on stage and claiming you're like 10 years sober, but like you're falling over, slurring words, fucked up. Like that's a rock star downfall, dude.
And then you die 3 days later on your bus in Minnesota.
That's a rock star fucking downfall, dude. That's morbid as fuck to think about, but like, if you're gonna go out, man, you go out.
Like dude went out. He's one of those rock stars who has lived the fast life, who lived the fast life, and you know all the stories are written about him, or you know they're all true. You know what I mean? It's just like he has this crazy lore, but it still doesn't. Who cares? Like it's cool, yeah, but just like the music doesn't. I don't care. The music isn't that great. It doesn't make me want to go listen to the music more. It doesn't change my opinion on his.
No, same.
Music.
Absolutely.
Nothing like that. But
But he did say something interesting after Cobain died. It was because this is also like in the midst of his heroin addiction, and he was kind of like, yeah, dude, like we're all duped by the music industry. We think that, or we tell kids that they can grow up and be rock stars and live the fast life and make big money and become famous without having to suffer the consequences in like the midst of a heroin addiction, which is just like, dude, hello, that guy's a fucking massive liar. Like nobody, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I've never been around somebody this addicted to heroin who was clearly going to fucking die from the beginning. And like back to when they opened for fucking Megadeth on that first tour, right? And like, why are you opening for Megadeth? Because Dave Mustaine loved Core. He fucking thought you were the bee's knees.
So weird.
And supposedly Mustaine told Scott personally, he said, hey, dude, stay away from heroin. It'll ruin your fucking life. That's like kind of in like the lore of music there. I don't know if I believe that or not, but kind of do believe it a little bit too. But that's fucking wild, dude, because like STP just got shit on by everybody in the beginning stages. Like everybody hated this fucking band. Everybody thought they were plants. Everybody thought they didn't pay their dues. That's harkened back earlier on with like Chester Bennington, right? With Hybrid Theory. That's why I started bringing it up later, because like Hybrid Theory blew up and was this big thing, and people thought, I still think like they didn't pay their dues. And it's like, you got to kind of pay your dues a little bit. Otherwise you're just a fucking pop act. You're just thrown together by somebody. But like they had been touring. SCP were a band. They were two different bands before they were STP.
3 years, right? I think they started in 89, I believe, as not Army of Anyone. That was the other side project.
It was like some Big Joe and the Blues
Mighty
Brothers,
Joe, Mighty
like
Joe Young.
Yeah,
Mighty Joe Young.
There it is. Mighty Joe Young.
Yeah.
What was that gorilla movie? Was that Mighty Joe Young?
It was Mighty Joe Young. Yeah. That was the
Get the fuck out of here. No, it was not.
Yeah, it was.
Fact checking.
It was like a Disney
Joe
movie.
Young. Wow.
Did you also see that when they were Mighty Joe Young, they were opening up for Electric Love Hogs?
Yeah.
Like 1991 or 1990 or something like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool.
I'm also just through the roof that Mighty Joe Young was that fucking Disney movie. 98.
It was like 98. I was gonna say like 96. Yeah,
that's wild. So yeah. Anyway, STP was just completely shit on like constantly for being disingenuous, and I think it's hilarious because I think they were disingenuous. I think they were a garbage group that got together, and I think their bass player is fucking phenomenal. I watched the Beato interview that he did. And I was just like, dude, you are so fucking good. You are so much better than everybody in this fucking band. They are lucky to have had you. And then you see it. Every one of their fucking songs was written by one of the DeLeo brothers.
One of the DeLeo brothers, yeah.
It was either Robert, him, or Chris, one of the DeLeo brothers. So I'm just kidding. Chris DeLeo wasn't in the band.
I get the joke. I get the joke.
But yeah, like after watching that Beato interview, I was like, God damn, you are a really, really fucking good bass player. And he wasn't a bass player. He was a guitarist.
He was.
Like, that's how he started. And he grew up listening to fucking and tuning Calypso Beam and bossa nova music and Henry Mancini and big band and jazz and shit. That's what he loved.
Well, and also like Interstate Love song started as a bossa nova song. Like it was written as a bossa nova song, and then it was, obviously changed hands and became what it is now. But yeah, that's my
banger, but like on a specific playlist banger, because in spite of Scott singing, I still think it's a really good fucking song.
Yeah, it's a good song, but damn, his vocals are don't like it.
In the Beato interview, you hear Robert play, because that chord progression is fucking wild.
It's great.
And you hear him play it on a nylon string in the original form. And the original form is very good, like boom, 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 boom. And it's like, dude, that is an entirely different song. And then he starts whistling the main tune. And it's like, wow, that is an incredible bossa nova song. And even Beato's like, dude, that's straight fucking like Obeem. That's what you're playing. He's like, I know, that's exactly what I want it to be like. And like, you kind of tell like that's if it was his band and his way, he would have a whole different thing. But the success also means a lot, and the money's really nice. But the dude wants to play just like jazz, like classical kind of jazz and weird funk at times.
Which is crazy, because it's like when you look at these guys' extracurriculars, like everything that they've done outside of STP sounds like STP. You have Army. So you have, what was it, Talk Show, or what was that? The band that came out with 2 albums that the DeLeo brothers were in. It was the DeLeo brothers and the drummer that were in that band with a different singer. And then Army of Anyone, which was essentially a supergroup. It was Robert Patrick from Filter on the vocals, the DeLeo brothers, and then Ray Luzier, who was at the time in David Lee Roth's band, but now is in Korn. He's been in Korn for 20 years now, almost 15 years or something. But
It's a long time.
Yeah. But it's just so, but then they only put out one record, but that record sounds a lot like something that STP would have put out. You know what I mean? It's like, why didn't they put out something, or why didn't Robert DeLeo put out something that was more in his, something that he liked, that he enjoyed? Just weird.
And I feel bad because the whole like Beato interview like led up to Robert's solo record coming out, and he was all proud that he put it out on vinyl, and they went into this whole vinyl thing where I was like, damn, dude, like that is true. All the things that both of you old guys have said about vinyl is why like everybody loves vinyl. And then I did not listen to it. It came out 2022, 2023. And I was like, damn, I should have listened to it. But I get why supergroups always fall back to just rock, because that's where you grew up listening to. That's what you like. That's what you enjoy. That's what's easy. It's easy to just do like, 4/4 and fucking basic song structure, maybe cover a blues song here or there, but let's just keep it in rock. Everybody knows it. It's easy. And with that many egos, like there's no fucking way they're going to get into like a bossa nova thing with that many chefs in the kitchen.
But I'm just talking about like Robert, like why hasn't Robert ever been like the band leader essentially?
That's why I want to hear.
He really is an
record.
STP.
We should have.
I didn't listen to it.
I didn't either.
I mean, out of all the extracurriculars, I did listen to both of the Velvet Revolver records. And honestly, did you listen to either of them?
I listened to 2 songs.
Okay, I will say the first Velvet Revolver record, is better than every STP record, hands down. Better than every STP record. Like Slash's songwriting and his guitar playing is leaps and bounds better than anything the DeLeo brothers ever wrote and Weiland ever wrote. Like it just I mean, the album has some stinkers. There's some not very good songs on there, but damn, dude, the riffs hit fucking so hard.
Yeah,
and Scott and it's not the Scott show. That's another thing too. Velvet Revolver is not the Scott show. Like everybody shine. Matt Sorum, there's some really great parts that Matt Sorum does on that record.
But it's just
Duff
like
McKagan too.
It's boring fucking rock.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Oh, I would never go buy it on vinyl, nothing like that. But in comparison, that first Velvet Revolver record is easily the best thing Scott Weiland ever did. And I mean, I didn't listen to his solo records, but I imagine they're probably pretty bad.
It's tough. It's tough because I do think that like, again, I got through like 2 songs on Velvet Revolver's first record, and I was like, dude, this is just generic, boring, mindless, safe fucking rock. This is essentially what like SCP was doing 10 years prior, because SCP is essentially just a boring, generic, safe fucking rock music, but they just kind of sound like everybody else. So they were grouped into the grunge phase, which they never should have been grouped into the grunge for core, because it's not a grunge record. But it's boring. Velvet Revolver's boring. This is boring too, but less boring.
I know. And once again, like I said, I'm not saying it's great, but in the grand scheme of things, within all these bands, that is the best record. It's not great.
Funny too. In that same Beato interview, Robert said that because his brother, the older brother of the two, which is like besides Scott, he's the weakest member of this band, the guitarist.
Yeah, Dean. Yeah, I don't get it. But people praise his guitar playing. I don't hear it. I don't get it.
Dude, all the good like guitar riffs are fucking written by Robert, so fuck off. He had said that his brother played guitar and he would sneak in and like borrow his brother's guitar and like practice and shit. That way his brother didn't know, and obviously his brother knew and just didn't care. But he said that the first time he joined a band as a bass player was everybody knew he was a guitar player, but they were in a band and they just needed a bass player. And he said, and I thought this was hilarious, and it made me think of friend of the pod Skip. He said that the band that he was going to join were like, hey dude, you play the guitar, so you can play the bass here. And they gave him a bass. And that's how he started playing bass. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. That's how it goes.
That's how, yeah, it really does. It really does.
That's why people start playing bass, dude, is because they started playing guitar and then someone needed a bass player and they jumped to bass.
I mean, the same thing happened with Lemmy in Motorhead. It's before he was before he created Motorhead, and even before Hawkwind, he was a guitar player, but he even said like, I'm not the greatest guitar player. There are people who are much better than me, and I just wanted to play music. I just wanted to be in a band. So I just picked up a bass and I joined a band because everybody needs a bassist.
Everybody needs a bass player.
Nobody wants to play the bass.
Nobody picks up a bass guitar. Nobody fucking picks up a bass guitar. So
you're like guaranteed to be in a band if you play the bass.
Yeah. So. Play the bass or own your own drum set.
Yes, exactly.
Or have a practice space.
That's true.
The three big things, right? Be a bass player. I would say be a bass player, own a practice space, or own a drum set. Those are
Yeah,
the
on the drum
three
set, yeah.
biggest things.
You don't even have to know how to play the drums
Yeah,
necessarily.
fuck it. Oh, also Robert also confirmed the story of Scott, him meeting at the show and
The Black
confirming he had
Flag
the
show.
same girlfriend. Yeah,
That's so weird, man. It's so weird. But see, that's another
I don't
story.
believe.
Like,
I still don't fucking believe.
I don't believe it either. I don't believe it either. Like it's too much of a coincidence that
It's
they
too
were both
wild.
dating the same girl and they both met at the
So,
same Black Flag show. Come
Hold
on.
I want to back it up a little bit because you said it's too much of a coincidence. Because last episode I asked you if there are big coincidences and small coincidences. You said no, there's just coincidences.
You're right. Okay.
But now this is too big of a coincidence.
You're right. Okay, you're right. You're correct. I'm mistaken. It's a coincidence. It is a coincidence. It's not a believable. Dude, these balloons. If you're watching this video, for whatever reason, when we do certain hand movements, things will pop up on our screen.
When I do certain hand movements,
yeah, when nothing works for me. Like I can go like this and no balloons, nothing. Yeah, nothing works on mine. But anyway, yeah, I don't believe that story at all. I don't believe it at all. I think it just adds to the lore of this band and I was gonna say Scott Weiland. Scott.
That's an edgy name.
Didn't the DeLeo brothers do like a very short-lived supergroup with Scott Stapp? I feel like they did. I read that somewhere.
That I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares?
Possibly,
so what?
Maybe.
Who cares?
I don't know. So what?
So what do you got for what's another banger? Dude, we're 35.
We haven't even talked about Interstate Love Song. That's biggest song on the record. That is the biggest song on the record.
Let's get into that. What do you have on this one?
I have way more notes than just like started off as it really did start off as a bossa nova song, but like this song is fucking dope musically. Like there's a lot here that is really, really cool. The chord pattern they're doing here is super simple, but they throw that one weird chord in there to like throw you for a loop. And that's a very like prog rock type of progression there. That one chord in there that's after that, I think it's the fourth or fifth chord they do. It's like, and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't flow. It sounds weird, but it matches with what Scott is doing vocally. I'm not saying he's a good vocalist here and doesn't make, I don't like the way he sings, but I like that fucking chord. It's gross. It's that dark chord. It's that very like he says, it's his very like Alex Lifeson chord. Alex Lifeson likes to do a lot of these weird fucking chords in like Rush songs. And I get it. Yeah. Like it makes sense. But dude, Robert's bass lines, they're super fucking tight. They are super really busy. This one, yeah. But they never get annoying because like his bro Eric is holding it down with like just he's a good drummer because he knows when to chill. He knows when to let everybody else do their thing. Like he knows when to be calm. Like calm down.
He's a very
I don't think he's a great drummer. I think he's a good drummer for this. And again, in the Be Out interview, he compared him to like Ringo, where it's like you listen to Ringo, and I'm guilty of this for a long time too. You listen to Ringo, you're like, oh, he's the fucking worst member. But it's like he's actually really fucking good. And that shuffle beat he does is really fucking solid. And Ringo knows how to just like play and let everybody else take the stage and make a great song. And that's what Eric does. Eric is a great drummer at just knowing when to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And even when he does get a little bit busier, it fits the song perfectly. It really, really does fit the song perfectly. And with this song, Interstate Love Song, I agree with you. Robert's bass playing is really good in this one. In the mix, it's very, very punchy. He also gets pretty squirrely in certain parts too. But it doesn't overpower the rest of the song, or it doesn't overpower in the mix. But when you're really paying attention to it, he does some really cool stuff on here. Absolutely, I agree with you. But it's good, and I mean, honestly, this is one of their most popular songs they've ever put out. As annoying as Scott is on this, it's one of the catchier songs he's ever done. But even then, it's not that catchy. It's just we've heard it so much, and honestly, we identify with the guitar riff more than we do with the vocals. Like we remember that guitar riff.
That guitar riff. There's two things about STP vocals that like are iconic STP. One is the Waylon Whale. That's straight up. That's STP. But also that That
Yeah.
is STP.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Like you
I
play
think
that riff
that's the most
for
iconic
somebody,
riff.
no one would ever confuse that with Pearl Jam or any of their contemporaries that they think ripped off or STP ripped off. Same with the Wyland Whale. Like you just that's STP. It's annoying when it's
Agreed.
STP. But damn, dude, that guitar riff sounds like STP. It's fucking
It
wild.
does. And it's not even like that weird of a riff. Like it's not super complicated. It's very simple. Like everything about Dean's playing is very elementary. And I don't mean that like in a disrespectful way. It's
I
just
do. I think he is the worst part of the band.
Scott's the worst. I mean,
But
Dean's
Scott's only
Dean's,
the worst because we don't like him, and that's one thing. But
I mean,
Dean is
yeah,
the
that's
worst
true.
because there's nothing defining about him.
Technically speaking, because Scott is, I mean, honestly, as much shit as we've talked about Scott, he is an incredible singer. Like he has a fantastic voice. He really, really does. But it's just not our thing. We don't like the Jarls. And in the end, I don't think he has the greatest melody. He doesn't come up with the greatest melodies, but the guy can sing. Just like all these X Factor singers can sing. All these people on American Idol. They're fucking fantastic singers. But they don't write their own melodies. They sing cover songs. They sing songs by other people, and it's just,
and that's the thing. It's like, dude, you go to a bar and fucking, like karaoke night, and the person that's there week after week after week, they're a good fucking singer. They're the one person at the bar that's actually a good singer. They take it way too seriously. It's like finding a good singer is a fucking dime a dozen. You don't need to go to X Factor or American Idol. You don't need to do that to find a great singer. But to find a great songwriter, that's
way
something
harder.
else. That's something
way
else.
Harder. And I mean, look at Journey. They got this guy that karaoke singer from the Philippines. That's literally who sings for Journey and has sung for Journey for the last almost 15, 20 years now. And it's worked out for them, for all of it, everybody, you know? So once again, to prove your point even further is that, yeah, you don't, it's fine to be a good singer, but just if you can't write the songs that are good melodies, then what's the point?
Good singers, there's a lot of us out there. So there are a lot of us good singers out there. So
yeah,
that's
like
all
you.
I was saying.
Yeah.
That's
but it comes down to like, you could say with any instrument, you could look at a guitar player, look at Yngwie Malmsteen. I mean, arguably one of the greatest, coolest guitar players of all time, but the style he plays, it's not for mass consumption. He doesn't write great melodic songs. That's not him.
Yeah. Especially with TikTok and Instagram now, there are so many good guitar players out there that are regurgitating Yngwie songs. And it's just, I don't know, man.
Like it's fun. It's a thing to watch. Like, oh, this is fun for like 3 minutes, and then I'm just gonna go listen to fucking Metallica or something, or somebody who writes like a good song rather than just a guy who shreds on guitar.
But then that kind of like bleeds in and begs the question of like AI stuff, right? Like, why am I watching this guy shred the guitar who's really good, but all this dude does is practice every fucking day and there's no soul to it? What is the difference between that and like AI generated guitar driven music? Is there a difference?
I mean, obviously there is a difference because one is created by AI and one is done by a person. But when it comes
only
to
create what you tell it to create.
No, I agree. I know what you're saying. But
which is more soulless.
But what I mentioned earlier was like when you find an artist, when you find a song or a band or an artist, whatever. To me, at least, how I view music is like I attach myself to their like almost personality. Like I want to know everything about this person. I want to learn everything about how they wrote the song, what they do like outside of music, because I like to build this world around these bands that I listen to and artists I listen to. But obviously with AI, it can be more difficult to do that. Yeah, you could. If it's somebody using really good AI as a
really
tool,
enjoy it, no matter what the person does in their personal life, you're still going to listen to it.
It's true. That's true too. I don't know, dude.
This is what happens when we talk about STPs. That they're garbage. What are your two biggest possible bangers? The two songs that you thought were. Let me hold on. Let me see if I can just get them here. You ready?
Before you do that, so you're about to guess what my two bangers were.
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to do. One of your possible bangers, I think, is probably Army Ants. Let's see. I'm just reading through my notes to see which one I have Punk highlighted. here to see which one would be your other one. Okay.
You're 1 for 2 right now. You're 1 for 2 right now. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna get a little cheater here. So I think that one, or I think it's Meat Power Loungefly.
Ah, okay. So you're 1 for 2 in the end.
Okay.
So yes, Army Ants is an almost banger for this record,
sure.
and then Pretty Penny is almost a banger as well.
Really?
Yeah. Only because Pretty Penny was just something so different off the wall on this record.
Wow.
It's a softer, more acoustic jam. There's the sitar. There's a lot of Indian influence here.
There's sleigh bells, bro. That's the closest I have to a stinker. That song stinks.
It's almost a banger for me. It's a very, very stripped down, and I like it. There aren't as many yarls. You're pretending to talk to somebody. That's a funny joke. It's a funny joke.
I haven't talked to anybody.
Okay. But I don't know. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Pretty Penny, Army Ants? What do you want to do?
You just don't care about anything here, do you?
I don't. I really don't. I think this is just most of this is chud. Like
do you want more? Do you want more anecdotes? Do you want more stories? I got stuff for days, dude.
I mean, let's get into some of the lyrics because we haven't really talked about the lyrics too much.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, most of this record is about his heroin addiction.
Yeah.
Also, his relationship with his wife. There's some songs where he talks about how much he loves her, and he wouldn't do anything for her, and he wants to die with her. There's songs like Interstate Love Song is about he's on the road or he's on tour and he's calling his wife and saying, yeah, I'm good, I'm not using, I'm not doing anything, but he's just lying to her. Like after he gets off the call, he goes and shoots up, or he snorts a line of coke. So that's what that song's about. And, it's just like, it's all mostly half the songs are about his heroin use. The other half is about his wife.
But if we're getting, because that's what we do here, if we're getting honest, right? Like if you're going to write a song about shooting up and lying, just make it good. These aren't good songs about shooting up and lying. They're not. They're not.
I was honestly a little disappointed by his lyrics because there have been moments on the podcast where we've just been kind of blown away by these guys' lyrics, certain singers' lyrics. And for a guy who doesn't write the music, for a guy that doesn't really write the melodies, for a guy whose only job is to write lyrics, and this is what you're kind of known for are your lyrics and your Jarl vocals, this is what you're giving us? Like, this is it? Like, I get it. Like, other singers love this guy, love Scott for his abilities, and once again, he's a great singer, not for us, but his lyrics suck. I don't care for his lyrics. I think at most they're ambiguous, but they're not thought-provoking. They're too ambiguous. I don't know, man. There's
a weird
vanilla ambiguous.
There's a weird, I gotta get my whole hand in here, both hands. There's a weird middle ground between being too ambiguous that you just don't make any fucking sense because you're just a junkie and I don't get it, and then being too on the nose to where like don't just tell me what you're going through, but like let me feel what you're going through also. And on one hand, it's more like textbook, kind of like you're reading from a dictionary, and on the other hand, it's kind of just like a really weird stream of consciousness to where it's just like I don't know the fuck you're talking about. These are so ambiguous. Nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about. Scott, like at times, is like on this hand, on the left hand, where it's just so fucking out there. That's it's about drugs. It's like, okay, I think he's just a shitty songwriter and just happened to like be a drug addict, and now we're just connecting the two things together. Unfortunately, that's what I think the majority of his lyrics are.
I agree. Like
I expect more from a historic rock star.
I agree. He doesn't do the super crazy ambiguous like Cedric from the Mars Volta at the Drive-In, where it's Cedric's just so off the wall.
Like, dude, chill the fuck out.
Yeah, you really need to calm down and write something more cohesive. But then it's just he can't find this good middle ground. Like it's either one or the other with Scott Weiland, and I don't think he's particularly good at anything. Like he doesn't write a story. There are no themes to his music outside of like his obsession with doing drugs. Like this is, I mean,
welcome to the 90s, dude. Right? Oh my god.
Doing drugs is like his entire personality. That is literally his entire personality. Which I get it, like in the 70s, 60s, and 70s, it was all about, sex is my entire personality. Ted Nugent, all he wrote songs about was about having sex with girls. I get it, that's a thing, but dude, it gets so tiresome. It gets so tiresome. And for Scott Weiland, like I said, if your literal only job is to write lyrics and sing, you got to come up with something better than this.
Which like I would like to go. I mean, not go back to because we've never done it, but I know like "Dirt" by Alice in Chains, that one, and then friend of the pod Skip has said so. But I would like to go and visit that one and get into those kind of lyrics, because if I'm going to watch the downfall, not watch, but like read about the downfall of somebody via drugs through their lyrics, I need to feel more, and I don't feel. I mean, in the context of the record, I don't feel bad for Scott here. I just don't. I don't. He's not making me feel bad for him. All the extracurriculars I read made me feel really bad for him. I was like, damn, dude, you were fucked from like 10 years old. Like you were on a doomed path.
Like how he was molested and shit, and
and like how his fucking other little brother got run over by a car and died when he was super fucking young, like 10 years old, and how he was tossed back and forth between his adoptive father and his stepdad and his real dad. And also, like, another anecdote I had here was that I think it was the drummer for the Butthole Surfers was the one that introduced Scott to heroin for the first time on one of their early things, their early shows, the tours they did. And then later on, when SCP was kind of blowing up, that same person that introduced him to heroin kind of like shit on STP and Scott, calling them kind of like, I think the interview said like, who sounds like STP? And then the guy was like, who doesn't? And it's like, oh. And it pissed off Scott so much that they pulled everything from MTV. They would do no like MTV promoted tours. They would do no press sightings until that guy from Butthole Surfer called Scott Weiland personally and apologized to him. Like, how stupid
that is that? So petty and stupid.
That's so bitch.
Yeah, very.
But that was like one of the coolest insults I've ever heard. Like, who sounds like STP? Pff, who doesn't? Oh. That was solid. I think it was a drummer.
It's good.
I think it was a drummer. Yeah, I don't know what we were talking about before that. So
I don't need. We were lyrics. We were just talking about the lyrics overall on the record.
I have a couple. I have a couple standouts. I have a couple standouts for lyrics here, though. There are some things that I do. I don't know. I do want to talk about one. I think Vaseline. I think that's I think that was a fun just metaphor, even though it was one tiny part of the entire list of lyrics that he wrote. The thought of a fly landing in Vaseline and just being like physically unable to get out through their own force and will. I think that was kind of a cute like way to relate what it feels like to be addicted to heroin. That was fun. I enjoyed that. The other one, I guess another other one is I don't want to talk about that right now. We'll talk a little bit. Kitchenware and candy bars. I think me like these song. These lyrics. Well, it's not the last song. The secret song will be the last song.
The secret song, but okay.
But the lyrics here are damn near close to being on the no list, because here are my favorite lyrics on the entire record, because I think this is so fucking bad. Should be on the like this is your fucking singer right here. He says what I wanted is what I wanted. He says it twice in the chorus. That's what he said. What I wanted is what I wanted. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what we do, dude. That's stupid. That's a closer. That kitchenwares and candy bars. That, like, for the record, this is the perfect. Bad. This is the perfect closer, right? Because it just check marks all the fucking boxes. It's long. It's drawn out. Repetitive lyrics. Repetitive things. A lot of wailing. Just dumb fucking lyrics. Like, that is the perfect closer for a dumb fucking record that is overrated. What I wanted is what I wanted. Good fucking
God. What I wanted is what I wanted.
Are you kidding me?
That is. We should honestly add that to the no list.
That would be the first time that like a well-known band or artist is added to the no list.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. Yeah, we should publish the no list on our socials. Like, these are banned words,
updated
banned phrases. Yeah,
because like what I wanted is what I wanted is what I wanted is it is what it is. That's what that is.
Oh yeah, it totally is. There were a lot of is there.
I know. The more we say the word is, the whole thing is, it bothers me. That is.
I know.
Is.
It irritated me too. Oh my God. Dude, this album sucks.
I don't.
This album sucks, man.
I have other good notes here, dude. I'm gonna get through my good notes. Are we
Yeah,
ready to wrap it up?
what
Do you want to run through them like we usually do?
Yeah, let's run through them.
All right.
I have like nothing really. I just have like nothing here.
Me Plow. I don't really give a
yeah.
fuck. This is just generic '90s hard rock alternative. I don't give a fuck. Vaseline. Kind of talked about that already. I don't really give a fuck. Loungefly.
Well, going back to Vaseline real quick, I heard a lot of Foo Fighters. I feel like Dave Grohl took a lot from this kind of Stone Temple Pilots and threw this into the first couple Foo Fighters records.
I mean, I will say Vaseline is a fucking 90s sounding song.
Extremely all rock.
If you told AI to like make a 90s sounding song, it may spit out Vaseline. It really
because
might.
It's like because when you hear that riff, when you hear Dean's riff on this song, it sounds like, okay, this is pretty rad. But then it just there's something missing from it, and I can't figure out what's missing from this main riff. Like there needs to be a couple more notes rather than just looping like the first couple notes. I cannot put my finger on it, but there's something missing about this riff. Otherwise, it could be really fucking solid. But it's just there's a lot of looping of the same thing, and I just whatever. Continue. Vaseline, fine.
There's just something I can't quite put my finger in. And then Loungefly.
Oh my god.
Loungefly. This is an okay song through and through. Like,
and speaking of Butthole Surfers, Paul Leary played the guitar solo at the end of the song. There you go.
So then it wasn't Paul. I'm pretty sure it was a drummer that introduced him to heroin.
Might have been, yeah.
Heroin, like the Bush song, Heroin.
Glycerine.
That would have been a better name for that fucking song.
We should have done Bush this week instead.
Honestly, we probably should have done.
We should have done Bush, and that would have been way better than this.
It couldn't have been worse. There's no way it could have been fucking. Dude, Savage Garden was worse. So.
Yeah, that's another. We didn't even talk about this yet. Yeah, we wanted to throw Savage Garden into '90s season.
Well, we each picked something. Be truthful. We each picked things that we probably want to do and we love. And you thought you loved fucking Savage Garden.
I thought I liked this record. I thought I liked that first record, but no, dude. I listened to the whole thing, but after this first song, I thought we're not going to do we can't do this. But I stuck it out and I listened to the whole thing. And I think you got 3 songs in, and you're like, "This is fucking
the two biggest singles." After that was done, I was like, "I'm out."
It's so bad. It's
not good at all. Not good at all.
We're not doing Savage Garden
because it's bad.
Yeah, it's just not good. Not even like a fun bad.
Correct.
So,
anyway, Loungefly, third track. Don't care about. Still Remains.
Interstate we talked about.
Yeah. Still Remains. Don't care. Pretty Penny. Dude, this song sucks, man.
This is the one that almost made the banger list.
Dude, you're adding like sleigh bells to a song. Fuck yourself. Fuck yourself.
Did you see that Scott Weiland put out a Christmas record like in 2014 or something, like right before he died?
I did not see that.
Yeah, he put out I obviously didn't listen to it, but yeah, he put out one. It's the last solo record.
Just morbid jokes running through my head. I don't know how far we should go with the morbid jokes after the Christmas record gets put out. But all right.
Silver Gun Superman.
Yeah, Silver Gun Superman, whatever. Whatever.
This one has a very Tony Iommi sounding riff to it. But once again, Dean starts something. He starts a riff out really cool, but he either loops it way too many times or he doesn't. There's no like resolution to the riff. There's nothing that adds like the special cool thing to it at the end. So it's like you're hearing some Black Sabbath shit here, but it doesn't go anywhere. So
that's what made this song very, very gross for me, is because this is one of those songs that's like super heavy for no fucking reason. Like, why is this song heavy? But then you said, where does it go? For what reason? Why are we getting heavy like this? There's no reason.
And then the only place it goes to in the song is it drops into the chorus, and it becomes this like all momentum is lost when you hit the chorus of this song. It turns into this like kind of big, grand, like ballad almost kind of thing where Scott Weiland's just being annoying Scott Weiland, and it just all momentum's killed. And then it drops back into the riff, and you're like, what was the point of that? Like, you got to throw something in way cooler than that in the chorus. I don't know. It sucked. And then also
It's
the
stupid.
lyrics on this one. The lyrics on this one is just talking about how much he loves heroin. That's literally what the song is about. How much he fucking loves heroin.
Been there,
Like,
done that.
Come on, guy. Just like, and not only that, this is like, when did this come out? 94. This is like right when Kurt died, or right before he died, or at least he had tried to overdose a couple times. And Scott, come on, man.
I mean,
Read
Scott
the
was
fucking
like,
room.
bro. Like Scott was. I mean, Scott was an addict. Like that was. I respect a good addict, right? Like if you're gonna be an addict, be a good one. Scott was a good addict. Like dude was in it. You know what I mean? Like dude was in it. Like he was in fucking rehab with Robert Downey Jr. They were sitting across from each other swapping stories. That's wild.
Yeah.
And that's what's even more wild. Scott Wild. Every time I say wild, I keep thinking Wildland, and it bothers me. But it's crazy that Robert Downey Jr. is so fucking like so successful outside of the fact that he almost fucking died from drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many artists that like have died from drugs that we kind of just like, poo away. But like Robert Downey Jr. is the face of fucking Marvel, the face of Disney's Marvel. And that is insane. And again,
I know
Robert Downey Jr., he comes out and he's fucking Doctor Doom in the upcoming Avengers movie. And it's like, what? Like, why? I don't get it. I don't get why some people get passes for severe like addiction and terrible, being a terrible person, where other people like they're condemned for life. Like I don't get it. You know what I mean? That's bizarre to me. But although I do get it, because as we talk about money, it's money and who you know, nepotism. So obviously it makes sense. Good to you. Good for you, Robert Downer Jr.
Downer Jr.
Downer.
Robert,
yeah,
Robert
Downer
Jr.
That's what his name should fucking be, is Robert Downer Jr. It's hard. That's harder to say though. Robert Downer Jr.
It is very hard. I sound like I'm really drunk when I say it.
Yeah. When you say Robert Downer Jr., it just sounds like you're trying to say Robert Downey Jr. and you're drunk.
Yes. Hey, let's get into Big Empty. What do you got on this one?
That's so stupid.
That's really dumb.
That's so dumb. That one really tickled me. That was really good.
It got you good.
I keep thinking about it. Robert Downer Jr.
Robert Downer Jr. Oh my
That's all I'm
God.
going to think about now. I can't do it.
Robert Downer Jr.
I can't. I won't.
Send it to our group chat. Just like talk about Rob, because we were talking about him earlier today in the group chat. We should bring his name up again, but put Downer. See if anybody
Robert
notices.
Downer Jr. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Dumb.
Big Empty.
Yes.
This one was up there in my okay songs, but not a B, but it was up there in my okay songs. This was cute. That's all I got there. I don't
That's all you got.
It was also on the Crow soundtrack, which I've never seen the Crow. So
I haven't seen it either. I've never seen it.
Crow. So
Crow.
Maybe that'll be a fanboy commentary. The Crow, our first time watching the Crow.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing fanboy commentaries for years. We've been talking about doing it, and now that we're doing the video podcast, there's nothing holding us back except for YouTube, because they'll flag us if we play any sort of movie or TV show. But one day we'll do a fanboy commentary soon.
I think that's weird that you've never seen The Crow. The Crow seems like the type of movie you would have watched at release date.
Well, I mean, I was too young when it came out. I was like 7 or 8 when it came out. But also, as I got into when I was a teenager and stuff, when I was in my little emo, punker phase.
When you were in that phase?
I don't know what you're talking about. When I was in that back then, I just thought it looked stupid. I thought it looked really dumb. I just didn't care for it. It looked really
and then this fucking guy goes on to like love fucking murder 13s from Planet 95
and AFI and all that.
And AFI from self-indulgences. So that makes sense.
I know.
All disrespectful names there.
It just looked dumb to me, so I never watched it.
Dude.
I'm sure it's great.
Okay.
I'm sure it's great. But anyway, yeah, Brandon Lee died for it. But so originally STP they were going to put a song on that soundtrack out called "Only Dying." Then Brandon Lee died, and they thought, oh, well, that's probably a bad idea and insensitive. So then they put this song "Big Empty" on that Crow soundtrack. I'm a Crow instead of "Only Dying." So there you go, "Big Empty." Lyrically, it's about the breakdown of a relationship with a girl. It's so generic, just so generic.
Yeah, it's boring.
So we talked about Unglued,
Army Ants, your biggest banger,
which we didn't even talk about. We did not talk about this song at all.
Yeah, this is their punker track. It's spastic. It's wild. It's super heavy. It's super heavy groove with like Rob and Eric. Even when Eric is playing that like wild broken beat and Rob just like keeps it in line with that busy like riff, it works really, really well together. It's just
that riff is elementary, man. That riff is very elementary. I
like the guitar solo on this song too. This is like the first time we actually have like a real traditional guitar solo. Like everybody stop, guitar solo time. It's like, that's what you get. Like, okay, all right, let's go. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, man, like Rob, I think Rob is the best part of this band.
I would agree.
Not the most iconic, but I think Rob is the best part of this band.
And maybe what Eric, what's the drummer's last name?
Eric, I don't know. Eric
Crumbs?
Eric
I don't know.
Lifeson, Eric Pert, I don't know his name is.
Yes. Yeah.
Those Eric Getty. I had to get the last one because I thought it was so stupid. So I had to get the last one.
It's a very dumb joke. It's a very dumb joke. Absolutely.
I had to get it in.
But yeah, this is like, oh, finally you guys have some energy here. There's some energy in these songs. Like, thank you. We needed this like kick in the ass on this record. And that's what the song is. But even then, whatever. The lyrics, it's about society constantly bringing you down and shit like that. Like, oh, come on, man. What are you, like, mid-20s?
I literally just wrote two words for the lyrics. I wrote whiner song.
Yeah, that's what this is. It is a whiner song.
It's a fucking whiner song.
Yeah.
That's wild. That is wild, dude. That's fucking wild that like Henry Rollins can write such elementary lyrics, but they're so more impactful and they mean so much more. And they're just as fucking whiny. Henry Rollins is just as whiny as Scott Weiland is. But delivery is everything, dude. Execution is everything, dude.
Delivery, energy. Yeah, it's just, there's so much involved in that. And we all know Henry Rollins is not, objectively, he's not a good singer. No. Scott Weiland objectively is a good singer, but that goes to show you how much more effective Rollins is as a vocalist, as a lyricist, how much more effective he is than Scott Weiland. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy, man. But whatever. So the last thing, kitchenware and candy bars. It's just, who cares?
Yeah, fuck that song. But we gotta at least like mention the secret song, right? Listen to the secret song.
Yeah.
You like the secret song though, right? The secret song.
It's like this lounge it's like
jazz Richard
disco
Cheese
thing.
Fucking
it's so silly.
Thing.
And who was the guy who did it? It wasn't somebody in the band. I forgot who it was.
No, it was somebody that I didn't know, didn't care about.
I didn't recognize.
Didn't
like Richard something, I think. Not Richard Cheese, obviously, but Richard something. I don't know. It was whatever. It was fun. It was fun. It was like the only time I felt like the band was having fun on this record was that secret song. So that's what I got.
That's. I'm looking over my anecdotes here to see if I missed anything. I guess it's another thing too. Just before we wrap it up, I guess I'll say this and go into my record wrap up if that's where we're headed towards.
Yeah.
The record almost didn't happen because the band was fighting so fucking much that Brendan O'Brien was like, dude, I'm done. Like, either get your shit together or I'm fucking done. Yeah. And they did get their shit together, at least in part. So that's how the record actually happened, because he was a professional. He was a professional.
And I mean, look what he's done over his career. Brendan O'Brien is like one of those.
Dude was making money. Money. He didn't have time for this shit.
He's one of those producers that nobody's really heard of, but he's done so many.
But you've heard all of his records.
You've heard all of his records. Yeah, he's not a household name like Rick Rubin or anything like that. But certainly he's put out or produced records that are just as big as Rick Rubin records. You know what I mean? Like, he's done so much fucking stuff. Great sounding records. He's worked with Korn. He did a Korn record. Come on, man.
It's funny because there was a Seinfeld episode where Kramer whenever he hears Mary Hart, which I don't even know who the fuck Mary Hart is. Mary Hart. Whenever he hears Mary Hart's voice on the TV, he goes into seizures. They couldn't
Wasn't
figure out
Mary
what it
Hart
was.
on? Oh yeah, she was on ET. She was like the original host on ET, Entertainment Tonight. Remember?
I mean, no.
No, okay, never mind.
I wasn't born in the fucking 50s, Tyler.
But you grew up in the 90s, and that's when she was popular. Was in the 90s, but okay.
So like whenever Kramer on Seinfeld hears Mary Hart's voice, he goes into seizures. Whenever I hear the producer of System of a Down's first record, I go into seizures. That's what should happen.
Was that your impression of going into a seizure?
Yeah. Really, my impression of going into a seizure is my impression of Kramer on Seinfeld going into a seizure.
Wait, wait. Now that I said going into a seizure, that just having a seizure. Going into a seizure
is going to seizure like preheating. Is that
would be like preheat? Yeah, that would be yeah, exactly. No, you either have a seizure or you don't. It's not
going into a seizure would be like the molecular level of this whatever happens when you have a seizure. Just like right, like that split second. That's going into the seizure.
Yeah,
and then you're having the seizure.
Yeah, but the impression that you were doing was of having the seizure, not going into the seizure.
That is correct.
Having the seizure.
That is correct. I will allow it. That was correct.
These tangents.
It's not a tangent. Man. No, it's not.
It's a little bit of a tangent.
It's not necessarily a tangent because we've been preaching this thing for a long time. We've been preaching this thing for a long time. And if we're going to do it, we need to be consistent. And you are correct.
Yes.
Let's be consistent. I am not, whatever you just said. I forgot. I'm forgetting in real time at this point. I'm smoking dope here. I'm fucking forgetting what we're talking about.
That's how much fun we're having, talking about this damn record.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready to rate, review, subscribe, rank.
Rucka wrap up the record, rate the record based off of our world famous 3-point rating. Oh, fuck. 3-point rating system where 3 is a perfect album, 2 is a good album you're going to continue to listen to, 1 is a bad album, but give it a shot, and 0 is the worst thing you've ever heard. There's a thumbs up, dude. So what do you got, Jeff? Wrap up, rating, let's go.
I'm gonna start with. I'm gonna do like a build up and breakdown thing, like a mountain. I respect what STP did because they're coming into like the grunge scene and they are essentially like a glorified glam band. They are taking what was cool about like Guns N' Roses, about Van Halen, about that era of just like cool fucking hard rock, man. That wasn't quite metal, but it was just good fucking hard rock. And I like that because like we all need good hard rock. And STP did that. But they were also very much influenced by Pearl Jam. Like, get the fuck out of here, Scott. Like, you telling me, like, really on a Sunday afternoon. Those are 2 different songs meshing into one. So you were influenced. Annoying. You were influenced by Eddie Vedder. Another thing I read too about Eddie Vedder, which pissed me off about Eddie Vedder, was he obviously like SCP. They're not from San Diego, but like they formed kind of in San Diego, and then like Pearl Jam up top in the Seattle area. But Eddie Vedder had said like, "Oh yeah, I spent a lot of time in San Diego with like my girlfriend, and we went to a lot of shows. We knew a lot of the people. I'd never heard of STP until he started doing our sound." I was like, "Bro,
I love that.
What the fuck are you? You're like, get the fuck. You're the shitty fucking band too. Get the fuck out of here."
He is a shitty band, but I mean,
oh my god.
I do like the shade thrown at them.
Nah, dude. SCP's first record sounds nothing like when we did the grunge walkthrough. SCP core sounds nothing like anybody else that was doing grunge music because it's not grunge music. It's alternative at best, but really it's hard rock. It is hard rock. It's LA Guns hard fucking rock, just with kind of like grungy vocals. That is it, and that's only grungy because Scott Weiland fucking purposely does so, which is so fucking annoying because he talks normal. He can sing normal. Why do you fucking sing like that? It's obnoxious. It's not fun. So anyway, now I've hit my peak. That was my compliments.
Okay.
So now I'm going downhill here on the mountain there. Everybody but Robert is just, man, everybody's garbage. Straight up. Eric, like, even though I compared him to like Ringo earlier on, like Eric, dude, you just, you're not a good drummer. You're a fine drummer. You're an adequate drummer. You can play beats. You can play these things. You can play pretend all you want, but you're not a big dog, dude. You're not a big dog. Guitar, right? Well, Alex Lifeson, bootleg, whoever. No, DeLeo's brother. Like,
Dean DeLeo.
Dean. What are you 90 already? Dean. That was rude. Shouldn't attack
That was really rude.
Shouldn't attack somebody because of their name. That's not fair. But really,
you attack people for everything. So what's the difference here?
That's true. Honestly, his guitar playing is perfectly matched with Dean. Like that's antiquated. It's old. It's snooze fest. A yawn. No, it's not my eyeballs. Fucking
I know.
itchy.
What is wrong with your eye?
I don't know. Now it's all fucking itchy. Okay, I don't care.
Dude,
everything about this. Everything. I've never had pink in my fucking life.
Ooh, that's where you draw the line when it comes to insults.
I've never had pink in my fucking life. Not one time. You can ask my mom. I've never had pink in my life. I just don't care about this band in any capacity, in any way, shape, or form. I like Robert. I like the fact that he's a really, really good bass player and a really good guitar player and a really good songwriter. But that's not enough. That's not enough for me to get into STP. And this may be the worst band of the 90s because they are so well loved. Wow. They are so beloved by people. But it's fucking fake, dude. This band sucks, man, through and through. And this is my favorite record by STP. But this is a 1. This is a 1 at fucking best. At fucking best. This is there's one banger on here. And yeah, it's a fucking beyond banger for sure.
One bender? Oh, no.
One bender banger on here. Futurama. One bender banger on here. Dude, this band is garbage. This band is terrible through and through. I cannot even fucking believe. I can't even fucking believe that we're even still talking about this. That anybody's still talking about this.
I know.
They're still making shitty records, and we're like, oh, this is the new ST. Are you fucking kidding me? Perdita? Like, what? Did I miss something here? Did we miss something here? Is there something that we're missing? Tell me.
All right. 1 out of 3. 1 out of 3. My final thoughts are the balloons. You got the balloons going again, dude. This record's not very good. I think this band is overrated. It's certainly not for me. It's certainly not for you. I guess you had to be kind of there when they came out to really enjoy them. I don't know.
Did you?
Maybe I'm trying to make excuses for them, but
you are making excuses. Just give it a fucking shitty score.
I don't think they're a very good band. I think they take more from bands rather than being inspired by them. I mean, you kind of praised Robert's songwriting. I don't think he's that great of a songwriter. I think you're just trying to find something positive in this pile of kind of shit. He's not a bad bass player. He's not a bad guitar player or whatever, but he doesn't write very good songs. So with that, we're an hour deep. It's a 1 out of 3 for me too. Might as well hear it once. You should hear it once.
You said something pretty prophetic though, which you probably didn't even know you said it because you just.
I say a lot of amazing things.
I say a lot of amazing things. This doesn't network with this. These are operating on 2 separate channels, but occasionally you say something nice. And what you said was STP takes more from the scene than they. Actually, you didn't say this exactly. I'm adding to your thing. Well, I'm adding to it because you almost said this, and I thought you were going to say like, "Damn, I should have said that." STP takes more than they give out. STP takes more from the scene than they contributed to the scene, which is weird because people think they contributed to the scene more than they took, and that's fucking bullshit because they took way more than they gave. They gave very little, if anything. The only thing they gave really is Scott Weiland, the Wailing Whale. The Wailing Whale.
It's not even. I mean, I would say above that, what they gave to the music scene was Scott Weiland's lore, was his story, was him being a junkie. That's what made STP stand out from other bands of the era. Was that because he was out of control? He burned bridges left and right. Nobody really liked him that much because he was such a fucking junkie.
We only cared about that from 92 to when Kurt Cobain died. That is it. After Kurt Cobain died, I was like, oh, fuck. Rock stars can die? Oh, shit. That's crazy. And that's when we stopped caring about that kind of lifestyle.
Okay,
So like
that's fair.
for 2 years, Scott Weiland gave us like something to read about, and that wasn't like those 2 year period. It wasn't when he was at his fucking
As
worst. So like
yeah.
SCP has really nothing to offer. They take way more than they give.
Yes, correct. All right, well, that wraps it up. We each gave it a 1 out of 3, and so yeah, you should listen to it
lucky.
once.
They're lucky.
You should listen to it once, but never go back to it because it's not that great. So thank you all for listening. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars. Smash that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Follow us on social media at Asinine Radio. Thanks for listening, and that's it. That's all.
Rob Halford.